The world today is loud. Everywhere you turn, there is noise, distraction, and endless stimulation. Your phone calls for your attention, your thoughts race ahead to what must be done tomorrow, and the mind rarely gets a moment of rest. But the Shaolin understood something very simple: the mind cannot be rewired in chaos. The mind is sharpened in stillness. It is in silence that your brain begins to change, begins to reconnect, begins to find its natural balance again. This trick is not complicated, but it is powerful. The ability to sit in stillness, to remain present, and to allow the noise of the world to fade. Stillness is not just the activation of movement, it is the cultivation of awareness. When you are still, your senses awaken. You hear things you would normally miss. You feel the rhythm of your breath. You notice the smallest details around you. In that awareness, the brain begins to reorganize itself. Modern science now confirms what the Shaolin knew for centuries. Silence literally rewires the brain. It strengthens focus, improves emotional control, and clears the mental fog that distraction creates. But why is this so difficult for many people? Because silence feels uncomfortable. The moment you sit without distraction, your mind begins to chatter. Thoughts appear like waves crashing against the shore: worries, memories, unfinished tasks. And yet, this is exactly where the training begins. The trick is not to fight the thoughts or to silence them by force. The trick is to remain still and let them pass, to sit like a mountain as clouds move across the sky. In time, the brain learns a new pattern. Instead of being pulled by every thought, it learns to remain calm, anchored, unshaken. Think of stillness as sharpening a blade. A blade constantly used becomes dull, but when you take the time to refine it, it regains its edge. Your mind is the same. Every day, it is worn down by stress, by information, by endless demands. Stillness is the sharpening stone. A few minutes of silence each day can transform the sharpness of your focus, the steadiness of your emotions, and the clarity of your decisions. The Shaolin monks did not seek stillness as an escape from life, but as a way to engage with it more fully. After sitting in silence, the mind is ready. It is not scattered. It is not weak. It is clear, steady, and resilient. That is why this simple trick has lasted for centuries, because it works. You do not need years of training to begin. Just sit. Just be still. Just breathe and watch. In that moment, without effort, the brain is already rewiring itself. The power of stillness. Breath is the bridge between body and mind, and it is the most powerful tool you carry with you at all times. The Shaolin discovered long ago that if you can master your breathing, you can master your state of mind. Most people breathe without awareness. Their breath is shallow, fast, and restless, mirroring the chaos of their thoughts. But when you bring attention to your breathing and begin to control it, something extraordinary happens. Your brain begins to shift. Stress loosens its grip, focus sharpens, and emotions return to balance. This is why the breath is often called the master key. Think about what happens when you are afraid. The breath becomes short and rapid. When you are angry, it grows heavy and forceful. When you are calm, it slows and deepens. Breath mirrors the mind. But here lies the hidden trick: it also works in reverse. Change the breath, and you change the mind. By slowing the breath, by making it deep and steady, you send a signal to your brain that says, all is well. In response, the brain rewires itself toward calmness, clarity, and control. The Shaolin monks practiced breathing not as something separate from life, but as something woven into every action. When they trained, when they meditated, when they walked, breath was always central. They understood that every inhale was not just oxygen, but energy. Every exhale was not just air leaving the lungs, but a release of tension and distraction. With each cycle of breath, the mind became more focused, more powerful, more aligned. Try this simple awareness yourself. Inhale slowly, counting, feeling the air expand your body, then exhale with control, letting go of every bit of unnecessary tension. Do this not once, not twice, but with consistency, and you will notice how your thinking becomes clearer. Problems that once overwhelmed you shrink in size. Reactions that once controlled you begin to soften. What you are doing is more than calming yourself. You are carving new pathways in the brain. pathways of presence, of patience, of strength. Breath is the master key because it unlocks the door to the present moment. The mind loves to wander into the regrets of yesterday or the worries of tomorrow. But the breath only exists now. When you anchor yourself to it, you bring your mind back into this moment where true power lives. In this state, the noise of the world cannot control you. You are steady, unshaken, awake. The Shaolin trick is simple but profound. Master your breath, and you master your mind. Do not underestimate this. It is not just air moving in and out of the body. It is the rhythm that rewires your brain and transforms how you experience life. Every breath is an opportunity to reset, to begin again, to find strength where there was once chaos. Breath as the master key. Everywhere you look, the world is full of distractions. Notifications, endless scrolling, constant noise, all of it pulling at your attention, scattering your focus, weakening your ability to stay present. The Shaolin understood that the mind is like a muscle. If you allow it to jump constantly from one thing to another, it becomes restless and weak. But if you discipline it, if you train it to hold steady, it becomes sharp, resilient, and unshakable. Every time you resist distraction and choose discipline, you are not just making a choice in that moment. You are rewiring your brain. Discipline is not about punishment or harshness. It is about freedom. Without discipline, you are a slave to every impulse, every craving, every external demand. With discipline, you decide where your mind goes, what your body does, and how your energy is used. That choice reshapes your brain. Each time you resist the urge to check your phone, to procrastinate, to give in to weakness, you strengthen the neural pathways that favor clarity and control. Over time, these small decisions build into a mind that no longer bends so easily under pressure. The Shaolin monks built their entire training around this principle. They trained for hours, repeating movements, focusing deeply, refusing distraction. The body grew stronger, yes, but even more important was what happened in the mind. The repetition carved discipline into the brain itself. They were teaching themselves how to stay with what matters, how to resist the pull of chaos, how to remain steady in any circumstance. This is why their strength is not just physical. It is mental resilience born from discipline. Modern life constantly tempts you to scatter your energy. Every distraction feels small, but together they drain you, leaving you restless and unfocused. But when you choose discipline over distraction, you reverse the process. You gather your energy back into yourself. You stop leaking it out into 1,000 unimportant things and instead direct it toward growth, toward mastery, toward transformation. The beauty of this Shaolin trick is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't need to be free from distraction forever. You simply need to notice when your mind is being pulled away and gently but firmly bring it back. Each return is training. Each act of resistance builds new strength. And soon, what once felt impossible, deep focus, calm awareness, unshakable clarity, becomes your natural state. Every choice matters. Every moment you pick discipline over distraction, you are reshaping your brain into something stronger, steadier, and freer. This is how monks built unbreakable minds, and it is how you can reclaim control in a distracted world. Discipline over distraction. Life will test you. There is no path that avoids struggle, no journey that is free of obstacles. But what the Shaolin understood is that struggle itself is not the enemy. Struggle is the training ground. It is the weight that strengthens the muscle, the fire that tempers the steel, the storm that teaches the tree to grow deeper roots. If you try to avoid struggle, you avoid growth. But if you embrace it, if you step into it with awareness, you rewire your brain to see challenge not as a threat, but as an opportunity to expand your capacity. The human mind is built to adapt. When faced with difficulty, it can collapse into fear, or it can reorganize itself to become stronger. Which way it goes depends on how you choose to meet the struggle. If you complain, resist, or run away, your brain learns weakness. But if you stay present, breathe, and endure, your brain learns resilience. It begins to rewire itself to handle pressure with calmness and strength. This is why monks train their bodies so rigorously, not for physical power alone, but to teach the brain how to remain steady when tested. Imagine holding a difficult posture for minutes, your muscles burning, your mind screaming to quit. In that moment, you are not just training your body, you are rewiring your brain. You are teaching it that discomfort is not the end, that pain does not have to control you, that struggle can be endured and even transformed into growth. Every time you face a challenge and stay with it instead of breaking, you create new pathways of resilience inside yourself. The mistake many make is believing that struggle is something to escape, that life will only be good when it becomes easy. But ease makes the mind soft. Struggle makes the mind sharp. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without challenge, there is no change. The Shaolin embraced hardship because they knew it carved strength into the brain and body in a way nothing else could. They welcomed the tests because each one was a chance to grow beyond who they were yesterday. When you begin to see struggle this way, your entire life changes. Instead of shrinking back when things get hard, you lean in. Instead of fearing discomfort, you understand that it is the path to transformation. The brain rewires itself around your choices, and soon the very things that once overwhelmed you become the fuel that shapes your strength. This is the Shaolin trick. Do not run from struggle, use it. See it as training. Every hardship is an invitation to rewire your brain for courage, clarity, and resilience. And once you embrace that struggle no longer breaks you, it builds you. Turning struggle into strength, the mind and body are not separate. What you do with one directly shapes the other. The Shaolin monks understood this truth better than anyone, which is why they trained their bodies with the same intensity that they trained their minds. They knew that every movement, every posture, every breath carried the power to reshape the brain. The body became the gateway, the physical doorway through which the mind could be disciplined, rewired, and awakened. When you move your body with awareness, you activate the brain in ways that thinking alone never could. A posture held with strength teaches the mind stability. A movement repeated with precision teaches the mind focus. A form practiced with patience teaches the mind discipline. The brain records every signal from the body, and over time, those signals become patterns. This is why the Shaolin did not simply sit in meditation all day. They moved, they trained, they embodied their practice. The body was their teacher, guiding the brain toward balance and mastery. Think about how posture alone affects the mind. When you sit slouched and collapsed, your mind follows with laziness and fatigue. But when you sit upright, grounded, and steady, your brain responds with alertness and clarity. This is not symbolic, it is biological. The way you hold your body sends signals to the brain that shape your emotions, your focus, and your energy. By mastering the body, you are constantly rewiring the brain towards strength and presence. The Shaolin trick is not complicated. It lies in the connection between physical control and mental control. When you train your body to remain steady in difficulty, to hold balance, to move with precision, to breathe with awareness, you are teaching your brain the same qualities. You are carving pathways of focus, patience, and resilience. Over time, the line between body and mind begins to disappear, and what is left is harmony. Modern life often separates the two. We try to think our way into clarity while neglecting the body, or we train the body without awareness and wonder why the mind remains restless. But the truth is, you cannot separate them. If you want a focused brain, train your body to be disciplined. If you want a calm mind, move your body with awareness. If you want resilience, push your body through challenge, and your brain will follow. This is why the Shaolin tradition has endured for centuries. They understood that transformation is not achieved through theory, but through practice, not just in thought, but in movement. The body carries the key. And if you are willing to use it, if you are willing to train with awareness, you will discover that your brain can be reshaped in ways you never imagined. The body as the gateway to the mind. The secret of transformation is not hidden in doing 1,000 different things. It is found in doing one thing with consistency. The Shaolin knew that the brain does not change through scattered effort or endless searching for new techniques. It rewires through repetition, through small daily practices that over time reshape the way you think, feel, and act. This is why one simple trick performed with dedication can create infinite change. It is not about how much you do, it is about how deeply you commit. Most people chase variety. They try one method today, another tomorrow, never staying long enough for their brain to adapt. As a result, nothing sticks. The mind remains restless, jumping from one thing to the next, never rewiring. But when you take one practice, whether it is a breathing exercise, a posture, a moment of stillness, and repeat it daily, you begin to carve new pathways in the brain. At first, it feels small, almost invisible. But like water dripping on stone, consistency creates transformation that nothing else can. The Shaolin monks trained in this way. They would repeat a movement hundreds, even thousands of times, not for the sake of the body alone, but for the mind. Each repetition deepened focus. Each practice session taught the brain discipline. With every day that passed, the practice grew stronger, and so did the mind. What seemed ordinary on the surface was in truth extraordinary, a rewiring of the brain happening quietly, invisibly, until the results were undeniable. Think about how habits shape your life. A single action repeated daily becomes effortless. The brain adapts, reorganizes, and eventually makes the action part of who you are. This is the power of consistency. It takes something that once required effort and makes it automatic. This is how transformation lasts. It is not about sudden bursts of inspiration that fade quickly, but about steady practice that endures. The beauty of this trick is that it does not require grand gestures. You do not need hours of training or complex routines. All you need is a simple practice done every day. It could be 10 minutes of stillness, controlled breathing, mindful movement. Whatever form it takes, the power is in the repetition. The brain learns through patterns, and the patterns you repeat are the patterns that define you. Infinite change is born from small beginnings. This is why monks say, do less, but do it deeply. They understood that mastery is not built in a single day, but in countless small days, each one layered upon the other. The trick is simple, but it demands commitment. Stay with it, and you will look back to realize that your brain, your mind, and your life have all been transformed